Hello, folks out there. We are live. This is the first ever actually planned and advanced Facebook Live event that we are getting together for here at Isogo. So I'm excited. Here at Isogo at the moment means sitting in my bedroom / office that we've created out of about an 8 by 10 square foot place here in our new spot in New York City. And we couldn't be more thrilled with it. There were definitely a few trips to IKEA, and it's always amazing like how much more furniture you need to fill a smaller space. I'm not really sure how that works, but there's always the perfect thing out there to make a little space feel like home. So we're excited that we're finally feeling that settled feeling in our lives here. The reason why I've gathered us here today is just to give you a little insight into why I put together this next roundup for you. So we are going through a series where we are rounding up the most popular, most useful episodes in a few different categories that we've had over the last the last year and our first year of Isogo TV. And we have put them, now we have posted our second roundup. And our second roundup, and what we're talking about today, is about marriage and parenting. So what in the world does StrengthsFinder have to do with how awesome my marriage is and how effective my parenting is and how well my family works? And for us, this has been the number one most defining and most game-changing area. And if you have been listening at all, you probably know that about me, because that's where it started for me, was at home with me and David, and how this whole new language that we were exposed to has started us to be able to get out of some of the worst spirals that we've gotten ourselves into. We've got into those spirals by using our strengths in maybe a misapplied way, and then we've now been able to figure out, not instantly, but with some discipline and practice and a lot of grace, to be able to figure out like why a certain spiral has happened or why a certain frustration has happened. So in these next few minutes or so, I just want to give you a little bit of practical, like, okay, so tell me exactly how does this whole StrengthsFinder and marriage thing work? I'll give you an example from us that happened not 9 years ago when we first started, but just a couple, like 9 days ago. Maybe more like the beginning of July. That lasted all the way through the beginning of August as we're trying to figure this out, as we're on our cross-country move together as a married couple, as a family, and how our strengths played in. And then also I want to just tell you what the number one most downloaded and most popular episode has been over the last year of Isogo TV, and it fits right here into this category. So hopefully you'll be able to stick around so I can reveal that to you and you can know if you need to check it out yet still or not. So as we started moving across the country, we have this awesome road trip time to look forward to. We actually were both very much looking forward to this. David was looking forward to it. Our kids didn't know what to expect, but they thought they were looking forward to it. I was definitely looking forward to it. But I think what happened was that we had very different ideas of what this road trip was going to be like, what the actual car time was going to consist of. So my perception and my vision of it was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be like able to become this real road warrior, and every other time we switch off, or I'm the passenger, I can open my laptop, I can, use our gigs of data by using my hotspot, and I can really feel like I'm getting a lot done. And for David, his perception of what we were going to do on this road trip had everything to do with the list that he was starting to create on his phone about all the different talking points and connecting points that we needed, that we had not had the space or breath to be able to talk through and to connect about. And he was super excited about, certain things on his list, like dreaming about what our time in New York City would be, or forecasting what our goals are and how have we done on hitting our goals over the last 10 years. And talking about what the vision of Isogo TV is and all these things that you'd think I would be excited about, which hypothetically I was. But all of a sudden we realized, like, okay, our perception of what this car ride was going to be like are totally different, and things start coming to a head again. And as we were talking about this, not understanding that we've both had different perspectives, both basically trying to get our way, we were super frustrated. And he just, he finally asked me, he's like, I just need to know how long you are going to feel like you need to work every day. I was like, whoa. So for me, that felt super constrictive, and I started to go internal and not say things out loud and just start to think I'm starting to think okay, now I need to consider quitting my job because he doesn't support me and he doesn't realize how much work I have to do and all this stuff. And he goes internal, which is super bad for him because extroverting is the way to go. That's the way he processes and gets things out healthily. And he starts processing and thinking going in a downward spiral, basically having no needs of his met because I wasn't willing to, from his perspective, I was saying, I'm not willing to have a conversation with you. I'm not willing to think deeply with you and to dream big with you. So we go about our ways. We're in, Colorado and South Dakota, and we're thinking this sucks because we haven't been able to connect. I'm super frustrated. Everything that we do, we're now taking personally. Everything is irritating and aggravating. And every time I open my laptop, I feel guilty. And every time I open my laptop, he feels frustrated. So it's what are we doing? What is going on? And so finally, actually we were going through the exercise of looking at each other's strengths, because that's what I said we should do. But I said you should do, so I thought probably I should do that too. And realizing where we had hit a sore spot. And that sore spot was by him saying, I just need to know, how much time are you going to spend? It felt totally constricting. My achiever needs a freedom to work at my own pace. And so when I was feeling like I was going to have this limited time, I started feeling stifled, frustrated, and not supported. And then of course, when I was telling him that I wasn't basically willing to make time to connect one-on-one with him, and not one-on-one with other people around, but literally one-on-one. This is not something that he wants, it's something that he needs, and that he will be most successful and thriving if I'm able to give that to him. And for whatever reason, I cannot get through my achiever, executing oriented brain. It's taking years and years. And so once we realized that these were our needs weren't being met, we could, based on our strengths, based on achiever or relator, we could really start to address what was taking us in that spiral, what was making us sensitive to each other, what was making us frustrate each other to no end. That was the root of it. It was that unresolved conflict that had to do with not having our needs met, and our needs were clearly defined through our strengths. We were able to have that conversation only because we had this language of StrengthsFinder around us. So that's, the most recent, well, it's actually probably not the most recent example, but because there are others having to do with self-assurance and discipline and things like that kind of get in the way of each other from time to time as well. So I just wanted, as we kind of wrap it up here, I want to make sure that the #1 most downloaded episode, and this is after the first episode, which of course always gets the most downloads. People are trying to figure out what's going on, is episode 6, How We Saved Our Marriage. And you will find a story similar to the one I just told you right now that was life-changing for us, how our perspectives were different about what we were going through, and the same situation and what we perceived, how different that was, and how the language that we now had to describe what we were trying to offer to each other and what we needed really helped, I don't want to exaggerate, but save us from the frustrations that we were having in our marriage, and to help us to be able then to laugh more and to love deeper and to connect more deeply. So if you haven't checked it out yet, definitely go back and check out episode 6. That's kind of the foundation. You'll also find the list of the episodes that have to do with marriage and family and parenting, all round up together in last week's blog post. And I've included that link in the notes here as well. So I would love to field any questions that you have about this topic or other topics using StrengthsFinder. It has absolutely been life-changing to me, and it's my mission and goal that I would be able to help fuel life change in you as well, as you understand that uniqueness, that brightness, and how you're wired to live and communicate and get things done and build relationships and think and influence others. So I will look forward to seeing you next time and hearing from you all along. See ya.